Y'all don't want to miss this one. More solid evidence and proof that America is Alkebulan, the motherland, not modern-day Africa, as we were lied to. Watch this.
Ancient Egypt was ancient America. Part 2. First, these were a Semitic, Canaanite, Egyptian people. They went by different names at different times, and they blended in together because they were all in the same neighborhood and same regions, with their borders overlapping. So right off the rip, let's look at modern America and where we get our name from. So here you'll see the map, Canada, America. Well, back in the biblical times, we had the Amorites, right? Well, then in the Roman times, Caesar refers to Amorica. And this is where we get the modern America. Now let's look north to our neighbors, Canada. Canada comes from an ancient reference to Canaan, or Nod, the land they wandered out of the garden to. Canaan, Nod, Canada. Now let's look at what they called the Yucatan Peninsula back in the day. Sinai Mexicanus, the Sinai Peninsula. Okay, now to the west coast and the sea that used to be on top of Death Valley. Mar Vermelho, the Red Sea. We'll get back to that. Now looking at ancient Egypt, in different periods the coastline extended from the Red Sea to the Sinai Peninsula. Looking back to the map, that would be this area here, from Florida all the way over to the Red Sea there, or Baja, California today. Now the word Nile comes from Nilios, the Greek word meaning valley. Now let's look at the Mississippi Valley here, and its 7 tributaries. They used to call it the Great River, coming from Mississippi, meaning Great River. Now look at these names the Egyptians called themselves back in the day. Mizr, the safe and civilized country, or maybe one might call it the Great Country, on the Great River, or the Mississippi, which was much bigger in ancient times, and we'll get back to that as well. They still call it the Mississippi Valley today, or the Great River Valley. Remember, Nile means valley. So the words and nomenclature haven't really changed too awful much. Now the ancient Egyptians separated their country according to the black dirt land and the red dirt land, as you can see here. The word Ar, or Or, meant black in ancient Egyptians. We still see this today in the United States. We have Arkansas, which means Black River. Orlando, which means Black Land. New Orleans, which means New Black Land. Mar Vermelho, the Red Sea. Colorado, colored red, just like the landscape. Now let's look at some of the cities on the Mississippi River. Cairo, Luxor, Thero, Alexandria. But let's look at Memphis closely. Memphis has been called the Egypt of the United States. Here's Ramses in Memphis, said to be a mold. This is also in Memphis. Notice the pyramid. They've since torn this down. And this is nearby in Nashville, the Parthenon, said to be a replica. It's pretty original to me. And look up the nearby Logan Dam, said to drown some pyramids under the lake. Now let's go to the Colorado area, or the Red Land, as ancient Egyptians called it, and look at the Grand Canyon. Here, on the top, you see the Grand Canyon. Looks like the remnants of a Sphinx pyramid, just like the one in Egypt. Maybe this explains why 90% of the Grand Canyon is off limits. Now after I posted part 1, one of the main comments I got was the flow of the Mississippi from north to south is backwards in the ancient accounts. Well, they changed the flow of the river, and this was fairly easy to do. There are over 92,000 dams in North America. Here you're looking at one of the engineering projects up near Chicago, also coincidentally up near the top of the Mississippi. As you can see here, they reversed the river flow from emptying into the Great Lake to dumping into the Mississippi. Pause to read about this engineering project back in 1900. And here we're told in a Herculean effort, the project saved the city from typhoid, cholera, etc., and reversed the direction of the river toward the Mississippi. Here he cried, "Let her go!" before he broke the last dam, releasing the water in the opposite direction. If you research more into the dam system, I think you'll see it's pretty easy to reverse the flow. Now let's look at corn. Corn was unknown in the Old World before Christopher Columbus in 1492, allegedly. Here you learn about Nippur, the Egyptian goddess of grain. But this is significant because the significant other was Nipit, the Egyptian goddess of corn. Awfully strange to worship an Egyptian goddess of corn when you've never seen corn. And lastly, I'm going to read this ancient passage. "And I will dry up the Nile and will sell the land into the hand of the evildoers. I will bring desolation upon the land and everything in it by hand of the foreigners. I am the Lord, I have spoken. Thus saith God, I will destroy the idols and put an end to the images in Memphis. There shall no longer be a prince from the land of Egypt. So I will put fear into the land of Egypt."
And so for all those lost sheep who who contend that my people in America are lost. We don't know who we are.
They are mimicking and trying to emulate film stars from America. They don't know where they come from.
We have to give them an identity because they don't have one.
Calling them African American is trying to give them some identity because they don't have one.
Saying that we're stealing other people's identity. Claiming that we are making up our own version of history.
If you are African American and you are denying your roots, you guys that deny your roots, you are starting to create false history. Stop it. You call yourself Native Americans, yet you don't even know your tribe. What language do you speak? Your so-called Native Americans. Native Americans, they have their own language. They have their own tribe. You coming up with some fake identity. So please stop it. Stop with the fake history you are creating.
This is why they changed our identity over and over again. We went from being our indigenous tribes to all these other names and finally African American in the 1980s. But that's why they had to cover up our identity. It's because they wanted to cover up America being the motherland, being Al Kebulon. Truth is stranger than fiction. Wake up.